we camera talking today. Alright, we out here at the dock again. Anyway, it's raining, as you can hear, and I'm going to tell you one simple thing that will potentially make your camera setup more professional looking, and it's actually pretty cheap. Like in terms of camera gear, what we're talking about, it's actually pretty cheap. And I have it on here right now, actually. It's a bit hard to see in this lighting. I'll add some extra lighting. That didn't seem to do much. So anyway, we got that right here. So this is a Canon 5D Mark II with a 24 to 105 millimeter lens. If you're just starting out, maybe you don't want to spring for a lens like this. Maybe you just want to get a nifty 50 millimeter f1.8. This is going to be much cheaper, right? But here, if we just, is this off yet? If we just take this off here, this is what I'm talking about. This little gadget right here. So, what is this? This is a battery grip. So I have my Arca Swiss plate on the bottom of it right here. But essentially, all this is, so it does, I'm not going to speak on behalf of all battery grips, even though they can't speak, but anyway, hit the window there. So all this basically is, in terms of what this one does, you get some basic, not basic, well yeah, kind of basic button controls here. There's a dial, there's a shutter, there's 3 other buttons, and then there's an on-off for the on-off dial switch thing for the batteries in the grip. And this is basically just like a big battery with some buttons and a dial. Just think of it pretty simply, like it's just giving you essentially twice the battery life. So if you don't want to use any of the buttons or anything, like just think of it as just an extra hunk of plastic and whatever that gives you more battery life in your camera without having to, you know, plug in a dummy battery and run it to some other battery somewhere else, whatever. Like you just put it on there, makes your camera body look beefier, and gives you more battery life for cheap, right? So essentially, when you have this thing like this, you're gonna buy it. Depending on the one you get. I don't know if they sell battery grips that come with the 2 batteries. I bought 2 batteries separately. The batteries are gonna be probably running you a similar cost to what the grip costs, depending on the batteries, right? I'm not sure exactly what the batteries cost. I don't know if it costs $30 for 2. I don't know if it costs $50 for 2. For the Canon 5D Mark II. And again, we're talking like, you know, like think about it like just because I'm giving like a price estimation, like, you know, think about shipping and handling and things like that, right? But essentially, like this grip I got on eBay, I think, don't quote me on it, but like I'm gonna give a rough estimation here, probably like somewhere between 50 something and 70 something dollars, right, for this battery grip. Then I got the 2 extra batteries, right? And so then I put those batteries in here, and then you just take off the little battery plate flap on the bottom and plug that bad boy in, and then there's a little kind of threaded wheel there, larger, kind of looks like a scrolling wheel, but it's not for electronics. It's literally just to screw the battery plate into the bottom of your camera, get it kind of secure on there, and then once you get that on there tight enough, hopefully, and there's like a little another little thing that plugs in on the other side of the body here. I'm guessing that's for the electronics connectivity, but or that's my assumption. And then you just turn that bad boy on, and there you go, you're good to go. So even like the main reason, like I don't know if I'm even going to use the functionality very much, probably not very much, of the actual grip itself, because the button, I think my first impression is that the button feels kind of cheap, and the dial I think feels kind of light and plasticky, kind of cheap thing compared to when you're using the one on the actual body itself. So don't even think of a battery grip in terms of the button functionality. Just think of it as you get more battery life, and it just adds like beefiness to your camera, and it just is going to make it look kind of maybe a bit more serious, right? And so why does this matter? So obviously, like I already said, battery life. Maybe if you got one where you like using the buttons on it, maybe it adds a little bit of the ergonomic benefits. Then you don't have to always be holding it like that if you're going to do for the sideways vertical portrait shot stuff. But even just aesthetically, it does kind of give it more of a professional vibe. You might already look professional in the first place if you're showing up with a beefier looking DSLR, but this might just make it even more beefier looking. And so then, is that something you want to go for, where you have like a chunky camera that you're showing up with? Might make you look, you know, more professional. Is that something you care about? Should you care about that? At the end of the day, what is going to matter the most is like what's the quality of the work that you're providing and the service that you're providing. The tools and how the tools look may matter to some degree to the client, because if you show up with this little tiny point and shoot, they might be kind of like, man, why are we paying you XYZ amount of dollars here? You know what I mean? But anyway, consider a battery grip if you want to kind of either get more battery life, maybe a bit more ergonomic functionality, although the battery grip itself, depending on the one you get, might not be super ergonomic, but it might be kind of okay or whatever. I'm not going to make any guarantees. And then if you want, you know, again, extra battery life and kind of want to make your camera look a bit more chunky, and you don't have to sacrifice usability, at least not for this battery grip. I can't speak for all battery grips, but because I could still put my Arca Swiss plate on the bottom, so I could still mount it in a tripod and stuff like that. And so it's worth maybe looking into. It's pretty cheap. It's probably going to be one of the cheaper camera peripherals that you'd buy. Again, this is going to depend on how much does it cost to get another battery, if you already have a battery, to get a second battery to then put in here, or if you want more than 2 batteries. You know, the battery cost is probably going to be, depending on the camera, maybe what you're going to be dipping a bit more money into, or maybe equal amount of money into, depending on the battery types, blah blah blah. But that basically is what I'm going to say about that. I'm going to end that there. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe, but ultimately the main thing that would be great if you would consider doing is, I got a Skool Community called Camera Talk, link in description. If you'd like to click on that link, you can get a 7-day free trial in my community right now. So that link is basically going to bring you to my About page, I believe, where you could then choose to sign up for the community. Regardless of whether you use the link or you search it on the Skool website, there's a 7-day free trial available to, I believe, anybody that wants to join right now. And I'm running that 7-day free trial, so you could just kind of get in there, look around, see what's up. I got some chat threads in there, got some courses, stuff like that, like videos. And then also, if you have any more questions, whether it's about what I've talked about here or other stuff about cameras, feel free to hop into the Skool Community, ask a question. I'm going to answer it. I'm going to try to answer it some way, somehow. So consider joining the Skool Community, link in description. Have a good one.